Good day, ma'am. Today I will present my code to you. First, I use header file stdio.h for input and output, conio.h for get function, string.h for string compare and string copy function, stdlib for system function, and windows.h for sleep functions. Then I declare global variable here that can be used for all function, like last name, like first name, lab last name, lab first name with character data type, let weight and lab weight with double data type, and R, T with integer data type. Then I've created user-defined functions here. So let me explain these all functions. The first function I want you to know is lab computer. This function is designed for laboratory to get the score and determine the final raw score in laboratory of the student user. So I declare double activity, exam, total, project, exam, exam sum. So in the activity here, this for loop will get and compute all the score of the student user in activity. So basically, yung program hihingin yung mga score ng user sa activity and i-compute siya dito. Lahat ng activity niya ay pagpaplasin at i-store sa activity sum. And then yung score ng user is i-divide sa total and multiply to the desired weight. Same with the practical exam. This for loop will get and compute all the score of the user in exam. So basically, same lang din sila. So this is for exam. And the total will store in exam sum. And divide the total and multiply to the weight desired. Same with the project. The score in the project will be divided to the total and multiply to desired weight. And this statement, the score in project, in exam, in activity will be add and store to the total. And lastly, for this function, the total will return to the function call. And the second is like computer. This is the same. I just separate them because they have different datas. So just like the previous example or function, it's the same. So this for loop will get and compute all the score in activity here and compute the weight here, store to the activity sum, and this loop naman is for quizzes and store the weight in quiz to the quiz sum, and the final is the exam. The exam will store to the exam sum. So just like the previous one, the total of exam, quiz, activity will store to the total. The total will return to the function call. So the next function is the range. This function will get and arrange all the names alphabetically with their respectively data. So basically, i-arrange niya lahat ng pangalan ng mga student na nag-fill up na sa program, either sa LEC or sa laboratory. So I declared double temporary weight here and car temporary last name and temporary first name. So these two for nested loop, I is equal to 0 and j is equal to I plus 1. So I compare the two slot or two location if I is greater than last name J. So if it is true, then this will be executed. The last name I will store to the temporary last name, and last name J will store to the last name I, and temporary last name will store to the last name J. So basically, this loop is for swapping alphabetically based on the last name of the user. So same with this first name and wait. Next is for lab records. This function will display all the names alphabetically with their respectively data in laboratory. So here this for loop is the X here is the number of students that use the lecture or either laboratory. So these conditional statements determine whether the students will pass or fail. If the weight of the student is less than 19.8, which is the 60% of 33, the student will fail. And if the student is greater than, if the weight of the student is greater than 19.8, the student will pass. Then here, it will print the total number of the student user in laboratory. Same with the lecture records function. So it's the same for loop x, number of student user in lecture naman. And the conditional statement here is 40.2, which is the 60% of 67. So if the weight I of the user is less than 40.2, babagsak siya. Then, if greater than 40.2 naman, siya ay pasado. Then, it's the same. This is the number of student in lecture. So next is the decision function. This decision function which return 1 or 0, true or false. So, ginamit ko siya para lang mapaikli yung code kasi marami akong ginamit na decision. So, magre-return siya ng 0 or 1, which is false or true. Dito naman sa lab search, laboratory search, this function is for searching name. It will compare the input last name and the last name in the laboratory in student records to get the desired name. So here, pinatype ko dito yung last name na gusto niyang i-search. And then this while loop is 5 seconds siya para may 5 seconds before lumabas yung sinearch na name. Parang formatting lang din. And then this will be printed out here. Like in the student records, I will just string compare if yung tinype ba ng user is equal dun sa is meron or nag-equal ba dun sa lab records. Then if equal yon, execute nyo to kagaya ng sa sa student records. If pass or fail, magpiprint. And then same with the lecture search, same lang sila ng function. Pinaghiwalay ko lang po talaga sila kasi po magkaiba po yung data ng sa lecture and sa laboratory. Bali gumamit lang po ako ng function para maging maayos ang aking code. And then here, same lang po. While loop is for 5 seconds para bago lumabas yung pangalan. Then string compare here if yung sinearch ba na pangalan ay meron sa lecture naman to, lecture. And then, same with the student records. It will print out if pass or fail. And lastly, the two function here, which is the border 1 and border 2. Ginamit ko lang po siya para sa formatting, which is yung 178 is in ASCII table and 175 ASCII table also. And the core of my program po is the menu. This is the core of my program, menu function. This function is the menu of the program and it is called recursive function. Um, so here po, nagprint ako ng selection which is 1 to 5. And then I use switch case for better multiple decision branch, sorry. And this case 1 will be responsible for Comsci lecture operations. So I created do while loop. Yan. First, I ask the user's surname. So I store the user's surname here in the lec last name. Kapag yung lec last name is greater than or equal to 65 and less than or equal to 90, which is uppercase, mag-execute po yung next. Yun nasa loob ng if. So, kukunin niya yung first name and then select computer, tatawagin niya po, which is magpapa-enter na ng score and kukumpitin na, and then yung mare-return ni leg computer is masasave sa leg weight. And then si R++ naman po, R increment, ito po yung magbibilang ng number ng user. Then, if yung statement na to is nag-false, which is nag-lowercase siya, yung first character ng apelido niya is lowercase, yung else po yung mangyayari, mapiprint, which is first letter in the last name must be big letter. Press any key to continue, parang ganun. And then getch to have a output and continue to return to this conditional or loop. Ang tawag dito. Loop condition. So, eto. Then this will be print out next. Is there any new student who want to use RSG? Then I call the decision which will return true or false, 1 or 0. Then the condition in the while loop is while loop is not equal to 0, which is yung loop kasi is equal to 1. Kaya while 1 siya, gagana yung loop. Then if the decision returns 0, the loop will terminated. That is for case 1, and the case 2 will be responsible for Comsci laboratory operations naman. Same lang din po siya. I just separate them nga lang po kasi magkaiba po sila ng data. So, same with the lecture. I ask the user surname, and kapag caps lock, this will be executed, and then kapag lowercase, this will be executed. Then same with the decision here. Oh, I forgot the arrange function. So, dito po, tinawag ko po yung arrange function para lahat ng mag-enter na user is automatically i-arrange niya po alphabetically. Then, that's why I call it recursive function because every tapos po ng switch case, every tapos pa ng case is tinatawag ko rin po yung sarili niyang name ng function. So, babalik lang din po sa selection. So, dito na po tayo sa case 3. The case 3 is for displaying all names and data of the student that use RSG in Comsci 1101 lecture. So, this is for lecture. I call the function lec records and I pass the arguments lec last name, lec first name, like weight and R. So this function will print out all the name of the user alphabetically. Then this will be printed out next. Do you want to search your name? So if you want to search your name, the decision, I call the decision function again here. If the decision is true, which will return 1, then this will be executed. The let search function, I call the let search function to work, to search the name of the student user. Then in the end of the case 3, I call again the menu, which will be the recursion again. Then same with the case 4, it's for laboratory. I call the lab records to print out all the name alphabetically in laboratory. And then if the student will want to search their name, then the decision, and then lab search function again, it's the same. And lastly, the function itself will call itself. And then the case 5, lastly, the case 5 is for exit the program. Then the default, if wala sa 1 to 5 po yung pipindutin ng user, this will be print out. None of the option. That's all.
So, this is the output, ma'am. Dito ko na lang po binidyo sa cellphone kasi po nagloloko po dun sa laptop. Hindi po may record yung output sa laptop. So, this is the menu po. I've created 5 selection, which is Computer Science Lecture 1101, Computer Science Laboratory 1101, and the third is Student Records in Lecture, fourth is Student Records in Laboratory, and lastly, the 5 is Exit. So if you click the number 1, you will go to the Computer Science Lecture 1101. Then simply type your surname. Here, kapag po yung surname nyo is lowercase yung first character, the program will print first letter in the last name as big letter. So, required po na malaking letter dapat yung first character ng surname. So, the second is enter your first name. Then, enter your scores in activity, in quiz, in exams, then you will get your final raw score in computer science lecture. Then, if there is any new student who want to use RSG, simply type yes. Then, repeat the process. The program will repeat the process. Scores, quizzes, exams. And then, if there is no student who wants to use RSG, simply type none. Then it will automatically go back to the menu, which is the recursion. So, if you enter your data in lecture, your data will be saved in student records in lecture also. So, if you click the number 3, you will see the data you entered. Then here, if the student is pass, the output is pass. Then if the student is fail, the percentage need of the students to pass will be printed. Then the number of student use the lecture calculator, and this one, the program will ask you if do you want to search your name. Kapag po kasi marami ng name dito, mahirap nang hanapin yung pangalan mo. So, pwede mong i-search yung pangalan mo dito sa search bar. So, simply type yes, and then type your name. Oh, type your last name, and then hit the enter. This is the 5-second searching before ilabas yung output. So, that's it. And same with the computer science laboratory. Let me show to you. I will click the number 2. And then same. Input your last name, first name, then scores in activity, scores in practical exam, then score in project. Balita ko mataas daw magbigay si ma'am sa score ng project eh. So, I will 98. Ay, joke lang. Pero baka naman, ma'am. Oy. So, hit the enter. And that is your raw score. And if there's no student, simply type none. Then your data will be saved in student records in laboratory. So, click the number 4. If you want to search, simply click yes. If you don't want, simply click no. Ay, type pala. I mean type. Sorry. So, it will go back to the menu. Then, if you click none of the selection, this will be happen. If you click example O, none of the option. 1 to 5 lang ang option na pwede. So, if you click number 5, this will be the exit. Thank you for using the RSG. So, that's it. Thank you, ma'am, for watching. And umaasa po ako na magiging maganda ang grade ko sa inyo. And God bless po. Thank you po sa walang sawang pagtuturo at pag-intindi sa amin.